you got to be healthy enough to go play. I mean, we're not going to put him out there if he's not healthy enough to go play, and then where he feels comfortable. So he feels good, and then the other team, they're going to play hard no matter what, whether you have a shoulder or not. They're going to try to knock you around a little bit, but that's why you want to make sure that you're in the right frame of mind to go do it. So, and physically okay.
Could you anticipate that Xavier will be available on Sunday?
Yeah, unless something went on today that I don't know about. But
should be. You feel like being able maybe actually be able to get some snaps, or is he kind of still an emergency break glass if you need Jalen Royals?
Yeah, he's good to go too. Yep, yeah.
And what did you see from Xavier this week in practice?
Yeah, he fast. He was running fast. We didn't have to worry about his legs, right? That was a upper body injury, so he's been able to keep himself in good shape and ready to go. But he looked good. I mean, what we asked him to do there.
They're traveling to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Let's take a look at Baltimore's defense here, shall we? Actually, for all the criticism that they've engendered, this is pretty much like last year. A reminder, last year they were really slow out of the gate. They started 1-2, but they finished 12-5, won the AFC North, and they ended up allowing the fewest yards.
In critical football moments, because we haven't seen that from them against Buffalo in week 1 or last week against Detroit, the two good teams they played.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys know the phrase iron sharpens iron. The Ravens' run defense against the Chiefs' rushing attack is like cotton softens cotton or something. Like it's the opposite of that. Whoever fails in this matchup, we are going to feel so terrible about, like, if the Chiefs can't run on Baltimore, they can't run on anyone. If Baltimore can't stop the Chiefs, that's a problem. I'm interested in seeing from, Ryan, you mentioned Zach Orr. He made that brilliant midseason adjustment last year to fix the pass defense. I want to see if he has a card to play in the run defense. Matabike being out, it hurts them a lot structurally. Do they maybe play a safety a little bit closer to the box? Do they switch it up with the linebackers that they're starting? It feels like something has to change, and it feels incumbent upon the defensive coordinator to figure this out.
All right, so
I know iron sharpens iron is Proverbs 27:17. I don't know cotton sharpens cotton.
Wow, that's by the way, that's
Mina Kimes,
1-1. Love the Bible knowledge. That's really good. Can you give me some football knowledge?
Yeah, I tried.
How do they face? Listen, they have a terrible record there. Terrible one against Mahomes. How do they rectify that?
Well, I think if you're the Ravens defensively, there's two things that you're like, hey, we're going to stop this. One, stop the 2x2 RPO out of Kansas City. I would say that's probably the thing that they feel most comfortable running. And I would tell you that it's not overly exotic. You know, they're going to get into the shrunk splits and they're going to run sticks or outs or motion and run an out or a stop. So it's not overly exotic. And I think the second, so this is their 2x2 RPOs. You know, they're like, RC, you know this. They're just going to try to get cut slits, numbers. They're going to motion, and if there's one safety in the field, Patrick's going to throw the football. And they're kind of mirroring it side to side. So Patrick sees that one safety, and if he likes the leverage up top, he'll throw it. If he likes the leverage down at the bottom. So I would be interesting to see, does Baltimore put some pressure on them, try to get outside and get hands-on? Or if there's two safeties, then you got to stop the run, because that's really all they've done. Obviously, you got to stop Patrick's legs. You know, easier said than done, so the discipline of the pass rush. But there's nothing right now that I sit there in Kansas City's offense with like, whew, you don't stop this, you're going to get beat.
Although, wait, we got some good news in. Yes.
On Sunday, which 1-2 team needs this one more?
And who should be favored when the unbeaten Colts visit the Rams? Toss-up is next. I got a guy who can get you a second TV tonight. Later tonight.
Can he get me a third eye or a fourth eye? Because I train my two eyes on the one TV. Time for toss-up. Two men enter, one man leaves, finishes the show, then puts on his red, white, and blue Speedo and drives up I-95 to Bethpage Black. What's first?
Help us.
Toss up, who needs a win more on Sunday, the 1-2 Ravens or the 1-2 Chiefs?
So this is why they call it toss-up, right? This is a hard one. My initial reaction was to say the Ravens needed it more because the Ravens have been terrible on defense against good teams. They lost to Buffalo and Detroit. They gave up 79 points. That's really a lot of points in two games. And for the first time, Mike, in our memory, their defense was a liability. So I thought it was them. You know, Kansas City in its losses to the Chargers and the Eagles gave up 47, not 79. And I think I could make the case that the Chargers and the Eagles are just a little bit better, maybe, than the Bills and Detroit. But then I looked at the schedule, and Baltimore's upcoming schedule is fairly soft. So maybe they don't need this one. Whereas Kansas City's upcoming schedule in the next 6 weeks, they get Buffalo, they get Detroit, they get Washington, they get Denver. That's hard. So maybe, in fact, the Chiefs need it more, because if they lose this, they could end up like 3-6.
The Chiefs need it more, and it's not close. It's not close at all. The Chiefs need it more because they play in a division with the surging San Diego Superchargers. They got Denver, which I think is going to correct itself and get moving. And I don't think the Raiders are half bad, and I think they're damn well coached, even though I don't want them to be either of those two this Sunday. So, no, the Chiefs are in a situation with 3 other legit teams in their division, while Baltimore's got Cleveland. I know the defense is really good, but, you know, they can't score. Cincinnati didn't have his quarterback. And the Steelers, I don't know that I trust the Steelers yet, who are giving up a bunch of points every game, even though Mike Tomlin says they're going to be the greatest defense since the Steel Curtain defense. I'm not buying that whole division. So Baltimore's got some time, even if they go 1-3. Kansas.
The Baltimore Ravens, this offense, as we know, has been very disappointing as of lately. But good news for the Chiefs. They do get Xavier Worthy back from his shoulder injury, ready to go. Are you feeling, though, confident to start him right away, especially in this game?
This is one that is absolutely driving us crazy, because obviously if you could have the number 1 wide receiver for Patrick Mahomes at full strength against a Baltimore defense that has not been very good this year, it sounds fantastic, right? But also, Xavier Worthy's been working with some sort of brace for most of the last couple of weeks. He's not a huge guy, and so there's some significant risk if he just takes one hit to that shoulder, or maybe the Chiefs just want him to run up and down the sideline, take defensive attention for a week, and not risk any hits to that shoulder. So I'm going to view him as more of a wide receiver 4, but I certainly understand if you've got FOMO and you don't want to leave Xavier Worthy on your bench. And with all the injuries we have, he has the upside to finish as a top 15 guy this week. There's also the danger that he's a decoy.
Yeah, I love that note. A little bit of FOMO. It doesn't feel right leaving him on the bench there. Let's get to the other side of this matchup for the Ravens. Isaiah likely questionable to make his debut this season as the Ravens do take on those Chiefs. How could this affect maybe the approach for Mark Andrews this week?
So another guy that has us pulling our hair out, right? Mark Andrews had 3 fantasy points the first 2 weeks of the season combined, and then he just absolutely destroys the Detroit Lions and looks like he's Mark Andrews again. This, I think, should give you just a little bit more caution in just jumping right back in on Mark Andrews, because we saw it last year when these two teams played. It was all Isaiah Likely. It was almost no Mark Andrews. We panicked about Andrews back then. I would not want to trust either one of these tight ends as my tight end 1 this week. You look at our consensus rankings, I would actually start David Njoku, Harold Fannin, Kyle Pitts over Andrews. He's not a top 12, top 15 guy for me. I do want to go see if Likely is available on the waiver wire, because there's a potential with the stage of the career these two guys are at that we see Isaiah Likely eventually move into that tight end 1 role. For now, I'd rather have both these guys on the bench. If you're desperate, Andrews is a touchdown dependent streamer.
All right, let's go ahead and check in with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We know that Mike Evans.
Jaden against the Falcons?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
And that's an indictment.
Do you think they need him?
Our friend Harry Douglas better keep that bird head handy. For those who didn't see it, check it out on social media. I haven't laughed that hard in a minute.
Oh,
Harry Douglas, so ashamed by his Atlanta Falcons that he did the show with a bird head on so that he didn't have to show his face.
What were they, number 2 in my hot mess rankings this week?
Bad.
They were up there.
The teams that go in looking good and come out looking poor, yeah, I think they're not trying to.
Are we going to continue to update the hot mess rankings?
Not up to me. I will. But
I kind of dig it.
Yeah, no problem doing it.
Okay.
It's up to Vegas East if they want to continue.
It's not up to me. Are you into it? We'll do it. Like,
of course, I'll do it.
It was a good thing we did.
Yeah, of course I'll do it.
Then we'll do it.
Okay, great.
You did a good thing. So.
Wow.
I just want to make sure we have to be clear. We have to be clear on what it is, because this is where it gets into that weird gray area. How I define the hot mess is someone looking good going in and looking bad on the other way out, right? On the way out. because your Giants aren't a hot mess to me.
Yeah, but it can go from bad to worse.
Okay, now here's where
the Dolphins were on the list, right?
Our buddy Peter Schrager, who we love, had them as a wild card team this year. So there was some belief. There was some belief that they could be good.
Yeah, I don't know what Schrags was on that day.
Well,
It's one of those let me throw a one bold, super bold take out there. We all do that.
Well,
Super Bowl. I said Aaron Rodgers would be the MVP.
Had the third shortest odds to be the first coach fired this season. It ain't like we didn't see this coming.
Well, okay,
we knew they were going to be bad. We just didn't know how bad.
Right.
Here's where it's interesting. I cannot believe I'm leading into this saying this. It's not off the table for the Ravens and the Chiefs to be considered for the hot mess list.
Ooh.
I mean, if one of these teams this weekend is going to fall to 1-3, barring a tie, okay? And if there are things that all of a sudden become dramatic around it, where you have comments post-game, well, we're clearly not good at this, or this person's doing that, where you have the infighting, or maybe you have a coach, not head coach, but like what the Falcons did, wide receiver coach gets fired.
Well, have we not already seen that? Travis Kelce and Andy Reid going at it on the sidelines?
Sure.
I know we've seen that in the Super Bowl. It's not the first time we've seen those two get in one another's faces. And Andy Reid, of course, tried to temper that down post-game, talking about Travis Kelce's intensity. But we're seeing their frustrations in real time. We're seeing the hot mess play out.
There are cracks. It doesn't look as good as it once did.
So does the regular season now matter for the Chiefs?
Yes.
Wow.
We're at that point now. The Kansas City Chiefs don't look good.
No.
The defense is giving the offense runway, but it doesn't feel like the offense is making any progress. And I know everybody is waiting on Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice to get back before they make their final assessment of what they think this iteration of the Kansas City Chiefs will be. I just don't know when Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy turned into Jerry Rice and Jawan Taylor. I don't know when that happened. Everybody thinks these dudes are coming to save the day, and I don't know that they can save the bad that we've seen from Kansas City. Something looks off from this team, and I can't help but go back to what you said last year, Smalls, about the Kansas City Chiefs. The deep playoff runs, the accumulative effect of playing those high-intensity games late into the season, late into January and early February. In the Patrick Mahomes era of Chiefs football, Kansas City has played 9 more games than any other team during that span. That's 2 more months of football than anybody else. That catches up to you, and it feels like this is the season where it's finally going to come back to bite them, especially when you consider the competition in their division. So when we start talking about the hot mess rankings and one of these two teams
hovering,
leaving Arrowhead 1-3 this Sunday, I feel better about the Ravens being able to dig themselves out of that hole than Kansas City.
So if the Ravens win, it's a benison. It's a sign that positive things are coming.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Whereas with the Chiefs, even if they win the game, still cause for concern.
Yes.
Sign of goodwill. If the Ravens win, I think we'll be like, okay. Even though we don't feel great about the Chiefs, we'll think they're starting to turn the corner. Maybe the beginning of the season was the outlier. The Ravens will round into form and be the team we expected them to be.
Yeah, let me say this about this game on Sunday. I don't think the Chiefs can win this game. I think the Ravens have to lose this game. And I can't remember the last time I said that about a Patrick Mahomes-led team.
But the Ravens are also very capable of losing the game.
Exactly.
The Ravens are very
can
capable.
See a very real scenario where Baltimore puts it on the ground again, throws an interception, a turnover, gives up a big play on a busted coverage. Everybody can see the Ravens doing that. But I guess that's my point. It'll take that for Kansas City to win. Because that offense is not good. Defensively, they can hold people down. They do a decent enough job of that. But even still, there are some issues on the back end of that unit. So, again, I think for the first time in a long time, we have to pay close attention to what Kansas City does in the regular season. And it feels like they're the ones that need some help when it comes to beating the upper echelon teams. The upper echelon teams have to make mistakes in order for them to be able to have success and win those games.
I wonder if a second half Ravens lead is now in, you go to ESPN Bet, you live bet against them because they've blown so many second half leads. I wonder if there's money to be made on ESPN Bet betting against the Ravens with the lead in the second half, which is the weirdest thing to say because they have a 2-time MVP who could have been a 3-time MVP last year. So now when you look at this game, which unit are you more concerned with, the Chiefs offense or the Ravens defense?
The Chiefs offense, man. It has to be the Chiefs offense. Evan, they're one-dimensional. They can't run the football, and they have no downfield passing attack to speak of.
What happened to the running game? I love Isaiah Pacheco. What happened to him?
It kind of limits what you can be.
But what happened to the running game? Isaiah Pacheco ran harder. And I'm not saying he doesn't run hard now, but like visually ran harder than any person in the league. Would like pummel people. What happened to that?
He's getting pummeled now.
Yeah, he's getting pummeled now.
That's my point.
But I thought their offensive line was better.
The offensive line is better when it comes to pass protection. That doesn't mean that they're moving people off the ball. And you still got Jawan Taylor, who's good for a penalty in every single half of football that he plays in. You still have some self-inflicted wounds. You still have mental errors. You still have drops. You have all of those things that are present. And these are impediments that Patrick Mahomes has to overcome on top of some talent deficiency issues. I just think it's too much to ask of him. And that's why, based on what I've seen the first 3 weeks of the season, I'm asking some serious questions about the front office of the Kansas City Chiefs taking the greatness of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid for granted. It does not feel like they approach this season with the requisite urgency required in order to contend at the level that we're accustomed to seeing them.
It's wild to think that the Ravens and the Chiefs, Sunday, 4:25 p.m. Eastern time, even based on going into it, may not be the game of the weekend. To think that those two teams could play each other at this point, and we could have a game, which we'll get to in a minute here, that is actually going to be better in terms of hype than this game.
The result of the game is what builds the anticipation, not what we actually see on the field.
Which is the difference between that game and the next game, which could potentially be an NFC championship preview and maybe a game that the Super Bowl champs don't want to actually see.
Two AFC powerhouses face off this weekend with the Ravens heading to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Both teams have gotten off to a slow start and are looking to avoid a 1-3 hole. Yesterday on the show, I let you know which team concerns me more. Listen up.
The Chiefs are 1-2.
I say they found a way to lose.
But they 1-2 too. Who you think better?
No, I think the Ravens are better.
Right? Why are you more concerned about them?
Because of their defense. And I think that ultimately, the Chiefs are going to be better. Once Rice and Worthy are back, I think they're going to be better.
We saw the Ravens get better from a bad defense last year.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you is they got to show it to me now because I haven't seen their defense this bad in a long time. I'm going to keep my eyes on.
Why was Marcus looking at you like that?
Looking at me at the end of the lead, looking at me like I'm going to go back. You know, I got to deal with people that disrespect. I'm not going to tolerate it, right? Dan, let's go to you. Who do you trust more moving forward, the Chiefs or the Ravens?
I trust the Ravens. The Ravens are a better roster. 1 through 53, it's the better roster. I think the Ravens stylistically, at least on offense, can play in a lot of different ways. They can throw it around, they can run it, they can get big, they can play small. I understand the defense is the concern. The defense is built to beat the Chiefs and the Bengals. It's not built to play against the Chargers, the Colts, the Buffalo Bills. And also, when we watched their defense have like a bad performance, Week 1 was a heroic effort by the Bills. It was without their star defensive tackle, Matabike. Now, how long he'll be out definitely matters. The Chiefs, they're right now a below average offense. The quarterback is carrying every bit of the weight. They're bottom 3 or bottom 4 in run offense when you take him out. I understand Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy coming back will impact, but they're good players. Rashee Rice, really good player. They're not Randy Moss. The defense hasn't necessarily shown to be exactly who we've been accustomed to. So I just think that overall the Ravens are a better football team, have to clean some things up. The Chiefs, I think, are just swimming uphill right now offensively.
Ryan Clark? Hold on. Pregnant pauses and quiet and all that stuff. It's good on television.
I just hate them. I just hate them both so much right now.
You hate them both teams.
I just hate both teams so much right now. Like, because the Baltimore Ravens roster is so good.
Yes.
Right. And they're so talented.
Yeah.
And when you watch that team, my expectation is that that team is supposed to vie for a Super Bowl. That team, in my opinion, was the team I picked to win the Super Bowl. They can't. Like, that team can't win the Super Bowl.
And
the way they are playing right now, I can't pick that. You can't say that this defense isn't built to beat the Chargers, the Colts, and the Bills, and then in the same breath say they can win the Super Bowl.
You don't think the Ravens could win?
You can't say that. This team playing like this, no.
Well, okay,
absolutely not.
Let me ask you this then: Matabike back, does that change the way you think?
Matabike back changes the way I feel like they can play the run interiorly, right? Because we weren't expecting, especially the Detroit Lions, who's revamped themselves in the middle of that line of scrimmage, to dominate that way. But the other piece of it is, too, there's like, we needed you to go make plays in 2 games offensively. We needed you to go make plays in 2 games, and you didn't. We needed you to be able to go make plays late against the Buffalo Bills. Let's keep the football. Let's have a drive. Let's do something sustained in 4 minutes. And you couldn't. Right? We needed you against the Detroit Lions. Go make a play, and you couldn't. Go ahead.
But where are you with them versus the Chiefs? I know you're disappointed in both. Because everything you're saying about the Ravens, you could say times 10 for what we've seen from
No question. The Chiefs can't win it either. But the thing, and the problem with the Chiefs, the reason I trust the Ravens more for the answer is because the Ravens play in the AFC North, the Chiefs play in the West. So the Chiefs have an uphill climb.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No
Big
point. Now the Chiefs get in the playoffs, healthier, I take the Chiefs over the Ravens.
So I'm on the Ravens too, and here's why. This conversation about the defense, I share your concerns. The run defense is a problem. No Matabike is huge. I still think they need to add on the defensive line. But we were having this exact same conversation about the Ravens defense last year. You roll the tape, you can find. I'm sure we were. First taking like panic mode. Yeah, and we were like, "This is a nightmare. They're never going to win the Super." They figured it out. They have really good coaches. They have really good players. They figured it out. The biggest reason why I'm picking the Ravens is between these 2 teams. Of all 4 units, the Ravens offense is the best by a mile to me. Like, I think this is a dominant offense. I'm not concerned about them after last
I am not going to insult John Harbaugh by acting like he shouldn't be there or anything like that. We know how great he has been. He's a champion. And we know that they're perennial contenders. But when is it appropriate to start having a discussion about, let me finish. When is it appropriate to start having a discussion about how we shouldn't be having these conversations about this defense looking this bad? We shouldn't be having conversations of being reminded that the man has blown 17 double-digit fourth-quarter lead in his career. We shouldn't be having these kind of discussions when you have Lamar Jackson as your star quarterback since 2018, and we're asking the question, as we have of Lamar Jackson, when you gonna get over that hump? When is it appropriate to ask John Harbaugh those kind of questions? I'll start with you, RC.
Well, I think it's appropriate because it's the same questions we ask about Mike Tomlin. Like, at some point, you have to find a way to win. And I think it's exasperated with the Baltimore Ravens because you have Lamar Jackson. I think the thing that's starting to stand out to me is we've been waiting for the year the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes aren't the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. And we've been waiting because that means Lamar might go win it or Josh might go win it. You know who might go win it? Justin Herbert. That's going to be the thing, the questions we'll ask.
Real quick, Dan, go ahead.
The Ravens are absolutely a Super Bowl contender. I mean, I think Matabike is a big deal. The thought of Harbaugh and that's not a conversation. He's one of the best coaches in football. Derrick Henry's fumbled the ball. He's not going to continue to do that. Mark Andrews drops the 2-pointer last year. They're not going to continue to do that. This is a Super Bowl caliber organization, Super Bowl caliber team.
Sure.
There's no question.
I don't think he's on the hot seat, but I also don't think he's above criticism for some of the decisions that he's made. And you're right, this is a team-wide operation. When we see meltdowns, when we see issues in the beginning of the season, the other thing that jumped out to me watching them against the Lions, Dan Campbell aggressively going for it on 4th down, right decision. I go back to week 1.
4th and 3.
Yeah.
John Harbaugh's conservatism.
They don't do it.
That's on him.
Listen, we got to pay some bills usually. That's why we're going to commercial break. We're not going to commercial break right now because we got to get some other people some money.
The Chiefs just pulled off something that nobody saw coming, and it's about to completely flip the script on how this offense operates for the rest of the season. While everyone's been obsessing over injuries and struggling to find explosive plays, Kansas City quietly discovered their next deep threat weapon hiding in plain sight. And the numbers he's putting up are so ridiculous, they're making people question everything they thought they knew about this receiving corps. But that's just the beginning, because what's happening with their biggest problem player is creating a crisis that could force the coaching staff into a decision nobody wants to make. And when you see what the Ravens are dealing with this week, you'll understand why Sunday might be the perfect storm the Chiefs have been waiting for. The story everyone needs to be talking about is Taekwon Thornton completely exploding onto the scene in a way that's making people forget about the Tyreek Hill trade. According to Pro Football Focus, no NFL receiver has more deep targets than Thornton's 11 through just 3 games, he's averaging more than 3.5 deep targets per game, which works out to 60 deep shots over a 17-game season. To put that in perspective, in 2024, the Chiefs had just 54 total passes that traveled at least 20 yards through the air to everyone, not just one player. Thornton has already been involved in 3 of the team's 5 longest pass plays of 2025, including a 33-yard gain that was Kansas City's 5th longest passing play of the season. The trust between Mahomes and Thornton is growing visibly every week. On Sunday against the Giants, Mahomes targeted Thornton with 4 passes that traveled at least 20 yards downfield, and while he only caught 1, it resulted in major yardage. This follows a pattern we haven't seen since Marquez Valdes-Scantling's first year with the team. For 2 years, Kansas City has been promising an offense with more deep throws, but up to this point, it's been more talk than action. Even with Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice missing through the first 3 games, Thornton's presence has allowed the Chiefs to replace their talk with action. The analysis here is crystal clear. Thornton is opening up the offense in a way the Chiefs haven't experienced since they had a legitimate deep threat. In recent years, Mahomes hasn't displayed much trust in his wide receivers' ability to win their downfield routes simply because many of his receivers had earned that distrust. That's why Mahomes' deep ball attempts have been decreasing every year until now. What makes this even more impressive is that Thornton came from New England where he struggled, caught just 39 passes for 385 yards in 28 games over 3 seasons with the Patriots. But in 3 games with Kansas City, he's already matched his career touchdown total and is averaging 57 yards per game. This Thornton explosion connects directly to the bigger question about what happens when everyone gets healthy. Less than a month from now, when Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice are both back in the lineup, who will be the 3rd wide receiver? Will Hollywood Brown retain his snaps, or will Thornton take his place? The compelling case is for Thornton because not only is he a better downfield threat than Brown, he's also taking more outside snaps than Brown, which is noteworthy since both Worthy and Rice do their best work from the slot. But while Thornton is solving problems, Jawan Taylor is creating them at an alarming rate. Taylor currently leads the NFL with 7 penalties in 2025, including one that was offset. After drawing 30 flags over his first 2 seasons in Kansas City, Taylor's penalty problem has reached a breaking point. The infractions, a mix of false starts, holding calls, and improper alignment issues, have become a recurring nightmare for an offense already missing key playmakers and struggling to establish consistent rhythm. Offensive line coach Andy Heck made the team's frustration crystal clear. Without question, he's a talented pass protector, but as he knows, as we know, as everybody in the world knows, penalties are going backwards. That's not good for the football team. The only guy who could fix that is him. What makes this even more problematic is that officials sometimes issue Taylor warnings about his alignment before games even begin. They watch tape and say, here's the alerts on this team. We're going to watch out for this and that. Heck explained. Without question, they'll come over and say, hey, you're gonna have to move up on the ball for me, even before the game starts. Taylor's issues are fueling serious speculation that swing tackle Jalen Moore could replace him at right tackle. Moore took the last 6 snaps of Sunday's win in relief of rookie left tackle Josh Simmons. And while Heck denied the move was intended to put pressure on Taylor, the writing might be on the wall. This is a crucial year for Taylor since Kansas City can save around $20 million by releasing him after the 2025 season. The Chiefs signed Moore to a 2-year, $30 million contract during the offseason, and Moore rotated with Taylor at right tackle throughout training camp. The honest analysis is that Taylor's habits aren't unique among offensive tackles, but when you're getting called for penalties at the rate he is, something has to change. Heck revealed that Taylor deliberately pushes the envelope because it gives him an advantage at the snap, but what we're telling him is, hey, that's not necessarily an advantage every time. In fact, it can get you in trouble if you're too quick or you're too deep. That's creating too much space. The coaching staff has had multiple heart-to-hearts with Taylor, but as Heck put it, you don't want to repeat offenses. So if you make a mistake, make it once. Let's not come back and make the same mistake again. Shifting to more positive news, Xavier Worthy will be available on Sunday against the Ravens, according to head coach Andy Reid. This marks the first week that the Chiefs will actually have a couple of their weapons back in the wide receiver room, and expectations are through the roof. Worthy has been able to keep himself in good shape during his absence, and Sam McDowell reported that he feels good. However, the reality check is that Worthy will be playing with a brace and might not immediately return to being the focal point of the offense. The Chiefs might be cautious bringing him back, which means we need to continue seeing production from Taekwon Thornton and Travis Kelce. They also need to establish the running game with Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, and Carson Steele, because Baltimore's defensive line is completely banged up. The connection here is that Rashee Rice is back in the building and can't play until week 7, but his presence should boost the energy in that receiver room. Speaking of Baltimore being banged up, this might be the perfect storm the Chiefs have been waiting for. The Ravens are dealing with massive injuries on the defensive side that create golden opportunities Kansas City needs to exploit. Defensive tackle Nnamdi Madubuike has already been ruled out with a neck injury. Travis Jones didn't practice Wednesday, was limited Thursday and Friday with a knee issue, and is questionable. Isaiah likely has been limited all week with a foot injury. Kyle Van Noy has a hamstring injury and didn't practice all week. Patrick Ricard, their fantastic blocking fullback, didn't practice all week with a calf injury. Broderick Washington, another defensive tackle, didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday with an ankle injury. Most significantly, left tackle Ronnie Stanley didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday with an ankle injury, even though there were reports that both Stanley and Van Noy were spotted on the field during early portions of Ravens practice. They were working separately with trainers, and it remains to be seen if they could make a quick return to play against the Chiefs. The article from the Ravens website even says it's unclear if they'll be ready, and going from not practicing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to suddenly playing Sunday is extremely difficult. The numbers tell the brutal story of Baltimore's defensive struggles. They gave up 415 yards on average through the first 3 weeks of the season and are allowing 32 points per game. If you watch that Monday Night Football game between the Lions and Ravens, Detroit ran the ball straight down Baltimore's throat. The Chiefs have a tremendous opportunity to take advantage of a Ravens defense that is missing 3 of their defensive tackles, plus potentially Van Noy and Stanley. This connects perfectly with what the Chiefs need to do strategically. Andy Reid needs to commit to running the football in this game against a Ravens defensive line that's begging opponents to attack them on the ground. The Chiefs have the personnel with their running back trio, and even if some of these Ravens players return, they won't be at 100% health. This is exactly the kind of situation where Kansas City can control the game and keep their own defense fresh. Wrapping up with the minor injury updates for Kansas City, Mike Dana is doubtful with a quad injury after being limited Wednesday, full Thursday, then limited again Friday, suggesting some kind of setback. Christian Fulton is questionable after being limited throughout the week with an ankle injury, but the key takeaway is that the Chiefs are in a much healthier position than Baltimore heading into this crucial early season matchup. The bottom line is that this Sunday represents a potential turning point for the Chiefs offense. They're getting weapons back, they've discovered an unexpected deep threat in Thornton, and they're facing a Ravens team that's practically begging to be exploited on both sides of the ball. If Kansas City can take advantage of this opportunity while managing their own personnel decisions around players like Taylor, they could establish the offensive identity they've been searching for all season long.